Paul Brown here from Wealth21. This market update's been recorded on the 2nd of June 2024. So first of all, and importantly, any information in this short video is just general information only. Doesn't take into account your specific circumstances. So if you do need some advice on your situation, please give us a call or contact or seek advice from an authorised financial advisor. Let's have a look at the index returns to the 30th of April. So bear in mind that that's about a month ago now. So the things to look at this chart, look at the 1 year returns. We find the best returns have been delivered from Australian listed property securities and also global shares in it. Both of those sectors have delivered returns almost 20% or around 20% over the past year. The 5 year returns, it's worth noting that the bond market, remember the bond market did correct in 2022, so the bond market is still showing slightly negative returns over a 5 year period. And the other thing is the best returns over the past 5 years and 10 years have been from international shares. And remember that is an unhedged index. So let's move through the different factors that we look at when we do a market update. Firstly, interest rates. Australian interest rates are currently sitting at 4.35%. Back in 2021, they were near zero, of course. And then when inflation emerged in 2022, the Reserve Bank increased rates very aggressively, and we're up at 4.35%. This is the inflation chart, and you can see that inflation peaked towards the end of 2022 at around 8%, and so then we've seen it decline. It's currently sitting at 3.6%, but it is actually proving to be quite sticky, and that's going to make it difficult for the Reserve Bank to start reducing interest rates again. That inflation needs to come down probably a little bit lower. This is the 10-year bond yield, and as we sort of mentioned earlier, there was a big correction in the bond market in 2022, and that's because the bond yields rose very rapidly with the emergence of that inflation. So they were below 1% in 2020, 2021, and then they rose very rapidly to up above 4% in 2022, and they're still sitting at about 4.5% at the moment. This is the Australian share, the ASX 200. This is a 10-year chart, and you can see the trend is up, but there's been quite a bit of volatility, particularly over the past 5 years or so. The market's not quite sitting at its high, but over recent months it's reached a market high. This next chart is the ASX listed property securities, and they had been struggling, but in 2024 there's been a very sharp increase in this market, reflected in that almost 20% return over the past 12 months. So Australian listed property securities have been very strong in this particular calendar year. This chart here is the S&P 500. So this is the US share market, and you can see a very strong gains over a 10-year period, and particularly in 2023. However, what we've got to look at with the United States share market, so that's the top 500 shares, but there is what's called the Magnificent Seven. So these are the big global companies. They're listed there. You've got Apple, Microsoft, Alphabet, which is Google, Amazon, Nvidia, Meta, which is Facebook, and also Tesla. So those 7 stocks are actually up about 80%. This was the 2023 figures. So those stocks were up 80% in the calendar year of 2023, whereas the other 493 stocks in the S&P 500 were actually pretty flat. So you can see how dominant those 7 stocks are. Let's move on to the last chart I have for you is the gold market. Gold has been doing very well over recent years. Of course, when there's uncertainty or or there's fear in the market, gold always does well, and gold's at a pretty high level. This is actually a gold ETF that trades on the Australian Stock Exchange. So there we have it, a market update at the end of May, early June, so almost approaching halfway through 2024. If you have any questions relating to anything in here or your situation, please feel free to give us a call. Thank you.